the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquel, and I also think Handel's Messiah is pretty boring.
Ooh, and I am John Gilardi, and I like to tie my brother's shoe. You know, you just got to watch out for him.
Yeah, he's walking around with some white kids, and you got to make sure that those are tied up.
You got to watch out for your 32-year-old kid brother.
Today, we are going to be talking about the 1997 masterpiece from Korean?
John Woo, I think, is Hong Kong or
Hong Kong Chinese?
Yeah.
Ooh. From the master, John Woo.
Yeah.
His American masterpiece.
Starring Nick Cage.
Starring Nicolas Cage at the height of his powers. And John Travolta, fresh off of Pulp Fiction and his career resurgence.
Yeah. Face Off.
Face Off.
I would say.
Take that face off.
Yeah, this is a movie that the first time I heard about it, which was only within the year, and I've seen the movie twice since then. Maybe that's a little bit of a clue of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it existed. I'm like, that's stupid. Who would have created
sounds like
do
a
that?
joke movie.
Yeah, it's a movie where John Travolta and Nick Cage switch faces.
It's so much more deep than that, though.
Yeah, it is. But man, this movie made me fall in love with not John Cage, with that's the
Johnny Cage.
I didn't think about that. With Nick Cage, like I was like, I get this man. I get it now. He just wants to have fun and be weird.
He's fucking going for it, bro.
I know.
I am on the verge of running through the filmography of Nicolas Cage. It started with Willy's Wonderland when we talked about that, and I've seen some stuff and I'm like, I like Nick Cage. I remember watching Next and knowing and being like, Nicolas Cage is in this movie, and I don't know, like, those movies came out in like the mid 2000s. I was like, what's going on here?
Well, I think the Ghost Rider era was when people were like, that guy's lame. But even though those movies, watching those today, it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, this guy's fun as hell.
He is going for it.
Yeah.
It's not even. I was gonna say he's trying, and that's not right, because he is going for it.
Yeah.
He this fucking opening scene where he's dressed as a preacher and he's swinging his head, and it's just like, I know exactly who this man is.
Yeah, and then he grabs the underage girl's ass and sings Hallelujah in the choir in the middle of the LA Convention Center.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the hell is going on? This
what
guy's
is this
fucking
guy
wild.
Doing? But it's
Is that
brilliant.
Sean Archer's daughter? Or is that just a blonde?
I think it's just a blonde girl.
Okay, that was confused because like when he sees his daughter, he's like, the plot thickens.
Well,
Probably because he's a perv.
Yeah.
But I also was like, wait a minute, was that the girl?
But it's just so it's just so fucking good.
I know.
Like I can't put into words like how
good this movie is.
How good this movie is, and it's ridiculous because it's weird because I remember here's my experience with this movie is I remember my parents renting it, and again similar to how I watched Minority Report, is like I sort of watched bits and pieces of it as I like snuck out of bed to like watch it.
Yeah.
And it was a movie that I watched the first 15 minutes I watched up until they took their faces off.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler alert,
yeah,
they take their faces off. And I watched up to that moment several times. And then like my mom would come home or my dad would come home and they would be like, you can't fucking watch this movie.
They say fuck too.
Yeah, my parents are like, hey, get the fuck out of here.
You
can't fucking watch this movie. This is trash.
There's too many swear words.
There's too many fucking swear words. Go to your room and do your English homework. But this movie, so I had you took this away from me obsession with it, where it was like in my brain it was so many things I'd seen.
I just pictured Anakin. I hate you.
I had seen so many pieces of this movie. And but I'd never seen the full thing until we were like, let's watch Face Off.
Yeah.
And
wait, you hadn't?
I hadn't ever seen the full thing
until
with this.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it just hadn't, like, it was like one of those things where I think that I had built it up so much in my brain that I wasn't sure what it actually was, because I was like, I knew all these little moments and I had all these like things that I thought that I knew about it, having these like half-formed pieces in my brain. But it is so much fun.
It's so good.
It's so...
And it got me on... I think this got me on a huge Nick Cage kick, and I watched the vampire one.
Vampire's Kiss. That's the one that changed everything for him.
Yeah.
That's where he was like, I'm just going to fucking go for it.
And then another awesome movie is Conair.
Mm-hmm.
Same, like, late, mid-90s, just vibes. Like, it's movies that don't get made anymore.
Yeah.
But I think would do very well today. But they're not going to get made.
Yeah.
It's a weird...
Like, this movie, I think, they would ruin it.
They would probably ruin it.
They would ruin it by trying to make it realistic.
Yeah.
You know? And because that's the thing that's the beauty of this movie. So, we'll synopsize it for you. And it's fucking ridiculous and amazing.
Yeah. Open carnival scene, dreamy, like
so
John
good.
Travolta on a
hanging out with his son.
hanging out with his
I
son
love
on a
this son.
merry-go-round.
He's even saying words. You're like, I love my son so much.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden Nick Cage throws off a cloak and has a mustache and a sniper rifle.
And he's drinking a soda or a milkshake or something.
Yeah. And then
he snipes John Travolta through the back.
But it hits his son's head. And his son dies. And then cut to John Travolta crawling on the ground, mortally wounded, and he picks up his son's bloody pulp of a head and puts it to his chest. Cut to 6 years later.
6 years later. 6 years later. So we've got Castor Troy, Nicolas Cage. He is a terrorist, bad guy person.
Tons of character.
Tons of character. He's got a lot of panache.
Yeah.
Sean Archer, John Travolta. He is...
It's a man that should have probably been on a mental health leave.
You know,
maybe
they
years ago.
Also, I'm pretty sure conflict of interest. Like, again, that's not necessarily conflict of interest, but it's like if you have a personal relation to a case, they don't let you work it because you can't be unbiased.
It doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean, because of course, again, this is like a comic book, a cartoon. This is an anime where it's like the big bad is being chased by the main guy. Right here, right in the beginning of the scene, he's laid a bomb and Castor Troy is trying to get away. And he's in his private plane and John Travolta is in a Hummer and they're fucking playing chicken right at each other. And this is how this works, and this is the whole movie. These two men playing chicken with one another.
Yeah, playing chicken with one another, but just to keep this scene going. And then there's a secret agent on board the plane with Castor Troy Nick Cage kills her, and she comes tumbling out, corpse. And it's just like, what the hell? Okay, he really fucking killed her. And then John Travolta stops the Humvee and is like, let me get in that fucking helicopter. And he gets in the helicopter.
He gets in the helicopter and escalates it even more.
And then he starts chasing him down and trying to, like, they're doing, like, helicopter plane foo on this runway that never runs out.
The private plane is trying to land, but the helicopter is sitting on its wing
so it can't take off.
It can't take off.
Meanwhile, Nick Cage is just shrugging, whatever.
Nick Cage is just milking it. He's eating it up, man. You know, and he's just like, this is how it goes. Get out! I'm flying this fucking helicopter. Here I fucking go.
And that's the movie.
That's the whole movie. It keeps
amazing.
It's so good.
It's so good. It owns itself. The tone is amazing. The performances are so fun. And in the end, you have Nicolas Cage playing a character that John Travolta is trying to play.
Yeah.
And then you have the inverse.
Yeah.
And it's wacky.
All right, so they catch him eventually, they do this thing, and the synopsis is that John Travolta is like, I'm finally done with this. I'm out of this. I caught him. It's good. He's dead.
Yeah.
And then the secret police are like, hey, listen, there's a bomb in the city, and the only way to find out where it is to have you pretend to be Nick Cage because we've kept him alive. So we're gonna take his face off and put his face on your face.
Send you to jail to go talk to his brother
as him to talk to his brother and find out the location of this bomb. And
it's funny though, because like you think that's gonna be the whole movie's arc, but that whole story thread ends about
he figures it out,
and then it becomes this whole different thing where they're essentially trying to resolve their.
It's kind
conflict.
of like The Fugitive.
Yeah,
you know, once it gets to a certain point. Have you ever seen The Fugitive?
No, but I mean, I'm picking up that it's similar.
It's
to this.
Yeah, I guess so. But
in terms of the arc and the progression of the story.
yeah, but it's just like, oh man, this movie. But I think that this movie would be ruined if they made it today, because they would try to make it sleek, and that's the thing that I
They would
think.
probably make it like a Fast and Furious 4.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Fast and the
So
Furious.
all of them are fun, and then for some reason on number 4, it's like kind of cool, like realistic, and it was probably one of the worst ones. And then they went back to
They're
the
like, let's do it fun again.
yeah.
But like, this movie needs to be ridiculous. Like, they would probably try and explain the technology a little bit more.
Well, their explanation of the technology is computer graphics doing computer graphic shit.
So good.
And you're like, fuck yeah, technology's working. And it's like, I don't know, you don't have to be anyone special to know, like, just because things are flashing on a computer doesn't mean anything's actually happening.
It's like they're like explaining stuff. They're like, oh, we'll reconnect things, and then we're gonna reconnect your muscles, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And that's all we gotta do. We just gotta take the skin off.
Here, look, your coworker got his ear shot off. Put his ear back on.
We put his ear back
Literally,
on.
there's a shot in the beginning where a random ass dude's ear gets shot off.
Yep.
So that we can have that moment later. That all
Yeah.
it says is like we can.
Oh yeah, you can see the wire in the back.
Yeah.
You see that?
Not in that particular shot, but I believe it with the jumping around.
But that's one of John Woo's big thing, is that he revolutionaries the Hong Kong wire.
Yeah.
I
believe it.
But it's so, I don't know, man. This movie, like, I can't think about the number of ways that they would ruin it. They would try to explain the science. They would try and make like his relationship like
Well, I like how they don't fully commit in a character arc, but they've also like in
But
terms
they
of like
do.
well they do, but like John Travolta has his moments, or God, it's so confusing to talk about this movie actually.
Yeah.
When Nick Castor Troy is in John Travolta's body, Sean Archer's body, he's kind of a family man now, and he like rescues his daughter.
He does like good shit.
Yeah, he does some good things, and he's like, fuck, okay. And then in the case of
Sean Archer,
John Travolta, when he's pretending to be Nick Cage, he's kind of in the crime underworld, and he's seeing that they have their own issues and their problems, and like he kind of wants to go to bat for this one girl because he sees she's actually a victim.
Yeah.
And eventually adopts her son, which is Castor Troy's. Oh my God, this movie's hard to talk about.
Yeah. Well, all right. Here's my whole thing.
But they don't like in the end, John Travolta's character, like Sean Archer, the man, he does come around and learns, and he kind of gets over it. But that's because the thread's over. Like, he doesn't actually grow. It's just like there's closure finally. Where Castor Troy, the man, in whatever form or face he's wearing, he doesn't learn.
He makes no growth.
Yeah, which is fine.
Well, which is, I think, fitting too for your villain. All right, so here's one of the things.
But it just makes it interesting that we're seeing him like do half decent stuff.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I really, really like it. But it's like I think that they would try and make him figure something out. Like, he would try and figure something out about himself. Like, they would try and make Castor Troy, like, they would have it like they switched faces.
Oh, yeah,
and now
that's
they
what I'm
switched
saying.
minds.
Yeah, that's why I
like
brought
they
it
would
up.
have instead of, because that's one of the things. It's like, yeah, he kind of does some Castor Troy-y stuff, but because that's there, he doesn't ever really change his motivations.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think that they would I think that if they remade this movie now, they would probably like.
Well, I think what they would change is that Castor Troy be like, I mean, this guy and his family, I mean, fuck, they're victims. They're going to be the only victims in this, but like, I'm going to use this power. I'm going to use this guy to get you and me out. We're going to go live our clean life. We're going to take this as that chance.
Yeah.
That would be the good character. That would be the twist. That would be the growth, I think.
It would also look bad.
Which they almost touched on. Look bad? What do you mean?
It would also look bad. Like, they wouldn't let it look the way that it looks now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it would look really clean, and it just wouldn't look fun. Like, this looks fun.
As much as you're talking about, like, if it was made today, I want to see this movie made today.
They're
mainly because I want to see the actors put in that situation and do what these two did, because what they did was so fun, so awesome.
Well,
I love it.
Who would you have? Go ahead and give me that sweet little thing. Who, if you made this movie today?
Not The Rock, and Kevin Hart, not them.
Okay.
Though, yeah,
No, because they've got to be similar body types.
yeah. I mean,
No, they've
It
got to be
could be
similar
interesting.
body types.
I think Michael, if it wasn't John Woo, or I think, I don't know. I think
Christopher Nolan's not anywhere
No.
near allowed in anywhere.
if it's
near
not
this.
John Woo, I honestly think Michael Bay could probably do a good job with it. If he's working with those big personality types.
Mm-hmm.
But my people, so I read online.
Okay,
So
so
this
yeah.
isn't a real thought. I read online Robert Pattinson and, oh my God, Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah.
I think that's pretty good. I want to see a little bit of Charlie Hunnam. He plays a pretty straight man.
Having him and Robert Pattinson.
Maybe Rob, maybe him. I don't know who to pair him with, but I think Charlie Hunnam because he has that edge, like hardcore guy edge.
Mhm.
And he has kind of a little bit goofy, and like what makes me say that is thinking of No Children of Men. Is that the movie? Children of Men.
Yeah.
Is that the movie?
Maybe.
The Owen Clyde movie about how people can't have kids anymore?
Yeah. Clive Owen.
Clive Owen. What did I say?
You said Owen Clyde or Owen Clive,
But
which
that,
is fine.
yeah.
I knew what you were talking about.
But in that movie, which you could realize, you could blink or you could miss that it's Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
He's like a dreaded dude, and he's always just dead sprinting, kicking ass in that movie. Like he's a crazy, just like balls to the wall, like aggroed crazy dude.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm picturing is just that like kind of like predator Charlie Hunnam. There's fucking chasing cars on foot and like
Yeah.
just being able to lose cannon. So I want Charlie Hunnam, and I have a hard time thinking
You
of
went in
someone
for
else.
Sean Archer?
Yeah, I think he could be a good Sean Archer.
I don't think he would play a good
Yeah.
Castor Troy. I think Robert Pattinson's a great choice for Castor Troy.
Yeah.
Um.
I think he's a weirdo.
Oh, he's absolutely a weirdo.
Yeah, so I think he'd be perfect for that. I don't know who would you do for a face-off made today?
Man, I think first off, I would probably.
You know, it'd be interesting. Tom Cruise, if he were to do it.
Would be interesting.
Yeah, because like, I don't know. Think Tropic Thunder.
Tom Cruise. Hold on. How about this?
Tom Cruise, Matthew McConaughey.
Or Tom Cruise, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it.
Make fucking Tom Cruise act like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, that man can pull it off though.
Yeah.
That man has done some crazy ass shit.
Well, that's why I love this concept of throwing two actors to act crazy or to be very melodramatic and cheesy and whatever, then play the other one playing that caricature. It's so cool. It's so fun.
All right. So that's not my official pick. I think I'm gonna pick my director too. I'll probably see if I could get Dennis Villeneuve. I'm saying his name wrong.
What has he done?
He's done. I mean, he did Cesario.
Sicario?
Enemy Sicario.
I
think it is Sicario.
I watched that recently.
I think it is Sicario. I think I said Cesario, and I don't think that that's right.
Yeah.
He also did Blade Runner 2049. I also could see, like the Coen brothers or the guy who did Hell or High Water, Taylor Sheridan.
I'm not sure.
What
about
they're
Taika
talking
Waititi would probably be a safe
oh my
bet.
god, that would be so fun.
He's so good at understanding
yeah.
the source material and what made it good and the faithfulness to it.
Yeah, Taika Waititi would be great. So Taika Waititi, all right, let's say Taika Waititi, and then, oh man, obviously he's worked with Chris Hemsworth before, but I don't think that he can. I don't think that I would be interested to see, but I'm not interested in seeing his Sean Archer enough to cast him as Sean Archer.
I mean, he could be the friend with the bad guy pad.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. He could have a part in it. Yeah. Chris Hemsworth is in it somewhere. If Taika Waititi is directing it.
Yeah,
directing it. Shit.
I mean, I think I don't think he can get better than Robert Pattinson, honestly.
Robert Pattinson and Tom Hardy's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So is Robert Pattinson and Charlie Hunnam is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
But I think, hear me out with this one. Hold on. I'm trying to think of someone to pair with Sterling K. Brown.
Who's that?
He's the uncle in Black Panther who gets murdered right away.
Oh, he's in
the
ABC show.
He's in This Is Us,
Yeah.
But I fucking love that dude. He's in the U.S. versus O.J. Simpson.
Cuba Gooding Jr. Bring
no.
him back.
No way. Sorry, Cuba. Cuba's gone.
Snow Dogs.
Snow Dogs.
Rat Race.
Yeah, I know, but he's also been
Pearl Harbor.
He's also in jail for rape.
Oh. Ethan saw my radar. I didn't know.
Cuba Gooding is so far off your radar, you have no idea. No, anyway, he had a whole bad thing.
Well, good riddance.
But I want to say, I'm trying to think of, because I want to do the. I'm trying to think of like a crazy guy, maybe like Keegan-Michael Key. No, they're.
Oh no, yeah, I think he's good.
But
he's known for being goofy and weird.
Yeah, that's true. Fuck. I would just like to see Keegan-Michael Key do something where he was like a real bad guy, which he might not.
I think he could be the good straight man in the relation of the dynamic where he's John Travolta, who then acts crazy as the guy pretending to be the. Oh my god.
Yeah, but he's not quite at the same level as Sterling K. Brown as far as like that like echelon. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like Keegan-Michael Key and he does great work, but if I see him on screen, it doesn't work. I don't know if you can get better than Robert Pattinson and Tom Hardy though.
No, I think whoever said that, whatever out there on Twitter sphere, got it right. My only modification I would maybe make is the Charlie Hunnam in there, just as the more straight man.
Especially because it feels like he's a more physical match to Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's stout, but I think he might be short. They also have to be the same height.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, I don't know if any of these guys are the same height, but I mean it's easy probably to fake. But
Sterling K. Brown and John David Washington.
Ooh, yeah,
that would be a good one.
I'm in. I'm in for anyone. I love it to be an anthology thing.
Maybe everybody's switching faces.
Yeah, and stupid scenarios, like they don't exist in the same universe. It's just the same type of story.
Yeah.
In independent universes. You know, you could do a British dude one too, and just to see the English side of it. Jason Statham, obviously.
Switching sides.
Chris Hemsworth. I don't know. Well, let's talk about this movie.
I think that this movie was one of Shakespeare's last masterpieces because it has all the sort of like tenets of a Shakespeare show.
Everyone's name is based off of
Castor and Pollux, Greek mythology.
There's a Lazaret. What I don't know. It's a version of
Lazaro.
Yeah,
which is like sort of a Shakespearean thing. Sean Archer, whatever. But it like the sort of like the conceit of it, where a man is faced with switching his identity to gain information or to gain favor in some sort of way. Again, a lot of times you did it in Shakespeare shows to be like, oh, it's a lady switching to be a boy so that she can tutor the lady because she wants to get close to the thing. But it's like the complexity of that, where it's like Sean Archer switches places with Castor Troy in order to get this thing, and then they switch lives, and like the confluence of the things happening that other people don't know about.
Yeah.
That them playing their own game within the thing while this other larger game is playing out that they're a part of because of the things that they do is just so Shakespearean.
Yeah.
And then like the internalness of it where you have fucking Castor Troy in Sean Archer's face going to his daughter and actually making her life better.
Yeah.
Like going and making her life better while still being a horrible person.
Yeah.
But going and giving her the opportunity, to finally open up and like talk about her trauma with her dead brother. And then also the fact that I don't ever get like I honestly get the sense that like that Castor Troy is like, fuck, I killed a kid. I feel awful about this, but life goes on.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I can very much, that's the feeling I get from him, where he's like, it was an accident. I am very sorry.
Yeah,
Why can't you just move on?
He's like, dude, I didn't mean to.
It was an accident.
I was trying to kill you.
As if it explains it away.
Yeah.
But this, like, it's so perfect. Like, this movie is so, like, Shakespearean, like, tragedy drama that I almost, like, I want, like, if it wasn't a movie, I think that Castor Troy would win. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if it was a Shakespeare show, I think that Castor Troy would win.
I mean, I think it's the perfect movie.
I mean, it really.
I don't think it's the perfect movie. I think the movie is perfect. I don't think there's a better version of this.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about that with another movie. Like, was it Outpost? What was the Cannibal Outpost thing? Was that we were like?
Ravenous?
Ravenous is like, is there a better version of this movie out there?
Probably.
I think it was that one. But it's like, I don't think that there's a better version. I don't think that there's something that hits the same way as this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because the drama's there, like, and the fact that, like, he accidentally kills his, like, brother, and the relationship that he has with his brother, you know, again, obviously, fucking spoiler alert. He says after he spoiled it.
Yeah.
Do we need to put a thing at the beginning?
Nah, people should know by now.
Yeah, they should know by now. But
Also, this movie's been out for
23 years.
Yeah. 24 years.
24 years.
Maybe, I don't know.
But it's just so, and then like the conflict within John Travolta as he's made this promise to his wife. He's made this promise. He's like, I'm
done.
fucking done with it, bro. And she's like, hell yeah, I got my husband back. And he's like, I'm going back in, because this is like the only thing that he knows. It's so fucking, oh my gosh. I wish they made more movies like this.
Just the loose cannon nature of each character. But I think, like, John Travolta just not dealing with trauma well, and he being, like, kind of an erratic, impatient, weird dude.
Yeah.
Then the fact that he becomes his biggest enemy, the murderer of his child, and every time he looks in the mirror, he freaks out, and he's ready to, like, he's just like, it's so good. It's so good, and you only get that with these over-the-top melodramatic characters, which... You know, maybe a movie made today would try to not...
They would try to ground it a little bit
Yeah, they
more.
would try to ground it.
But I don't think that it needs to be grounded. I think that it's honest. I think it's real.
I think it's okay today to be entertained in a fantasy or
but it's
weird,
also a movie,
weird facsimile
bro.
of yeah. Like, everything doesn't need to be neorealist or
Yeah.
whatever. Even the Marvel movies are, you know, they're grounded in some kind of...
Unifying factor.
Yeah, it's like, what if crazy shit were happening, but... It's still relatable to today's world. Like today, like it's like people are just people. Like they live with it. Like I don't know. They try to explain it into everyday life, I guess.
Yeah, which is I think that it works sometimes.
Which is what The Boys makes fun of, is like the hyper commercialization of it. Is like, actually that's probably what would actually happen. It wouldn't just be like, I'm living my life.
But I think that this like movies like this, or like even Die Hard, because again this kind of comes from like the sort of the same can, I feel like.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it even sort of like looks the same.
Well, I think you bring up something interesting in that just these two movies, 90s movies, Die Hard and Face Off, are just action movies that are amazing.
Yeah.
And then what do you think of today? You have Marvel movies, and they're pretty good. And you have the Fast and Furious movies, pretty good. But they're all built off of a franchise and blah, blah, blah. And would I call them amazing? No.
No, they kind of all just fit a mold.
And I'm trying to think of, you know, the one-off action movie.
Maybe Inception or something like that.
There's those, but they're not. In the example of Inception, you know, that's pretty, like, serious.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think like the perfect action movie is equal parts fun and...
Hot Fuzz.
Cool to look at. Hot Fuzz is awesome. I would say that's all. I mean, that's a comedy movie with cool action, though.
There's more action in it than you think. I recently rewatched it.
That movie is low key a gun movie.
It is.
There's tons of gun porn in that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like an interesting thing. It's like, what is the last like action movie that was like
equal parts fun and just good.
Equal
good
parts
film.
fun, because that's the thing, is that like
also just the stunts are amazing. The boat chase scene.
Oh my god,
this stuff's crazy.
I know, but the thing is like when you're walking, which is why I push back. I don't want Michael Bay to do it because he gives me a headache.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I say him because there's a lot of sweeping. There's always motion.
Yeah.
On the screen.
but I appreciate this movie because, maybe we're watching the scene where he shows the doctor his scar, on from getting his shot by Castor Troy, showing the doctor his scar, and earlier in the movie we saw another scar, like the same scar, but it looked like slightly different.
Yeah.
It's like maybe it looks slightly different, but the thing is I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like.
It was kind of peeling off till you could see the prosthetic was like
Make it
hanging
good,
off.
like it's like make it good enough, make it clean, and make it good enough that it works. Like I think that maybe that we've strived so much with technology toward perfection that we've removed some of the fun of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because that's one of the things like that I think that like, finding the constraints is where you. The constraints are where you
The creativity comes.
yeah, the creativity comes in. And so I wonder that now without constraints and without like any sort of stuff like that is like we have like instead of like Marvel reaching and trying to get to the thing, they've got us like, oh, well, we have to de-elevate this and like ground it.
Well, I was thinking like how much obviously my argument changed when we talked about the Scorpion King. About how I thought that was a DVD movie, like how good that looked for a DVD movie.
Yeah.
But I think that idea still is there where in today's world it's only all in top grade A good.
Yeah.
Or you can see the cracks. Or it's just not well made, or you see the shortcuts in spades, and that's like, why is that happening today? Is it because there's prosumer and they're just like, fuck it, let's not put as much work into it because there's like it's just a weird thing. And I think, and then as you were talking about how, things are too perfect and whatnot, it got me thinking again about the accessibility of the prosumerness of the changing perspective backdrops, like the whatever it's called.
I love that
I don't know what I was saying.
I love that they're hand lasering. Sorry, I didn't mean to get you off track if I got you off track. But I love that they're hand lasering off Nick Cage's face.
Yeah.
Like instead of having a robot doing, they're hand lasering it off.
And I love how they barely give you peeks of their faceless faces.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I honestly, it's like, this is fucking too gross for you.
Yeah.
And the way that they do it, because that's, again, something that
Well, they want to give you a point of no return scare because they're like, it is reversible. But anyone would be afraid of the point of no return of switching your face, your identity, with that of a terrible person,
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too, is like even in the scene where Nick Cage, surprise, surprise, he wakes up out of his coma and requests for his face to be, for Sean Archer's face to be put on him. The only time you see that, because again, I was like, oh man, they're going to do like the reveal where he's smoking a cigarette and they like see his face and we do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, and it could be like,
they show a profile shot for
they
a
show a
split
profile
second.
shot for, they have two profile shots for a split second. And then the only time that they show his like full face is in the reflection.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, it's like,
I mean, it's the Jaws effect.
it is a Jaws effect, but it's also like, I don't need to see this. Because again, maybe the makeup's not that bad, but it's like, I don't need to see this to know that it would be fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And fucking like, let me do some of the work. Put some fucking red goo on his face, and like let me do some of the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that maybe that's the thing is like we don't do that much work.
I think it was a cover up for lips and eyelids.
I mean, listen, I'm sure that there's a lot of practical reasons because, they would have to put a prosthetic on him to make it. It would be very confusing.
I love how unhinged John Travolta's character of Sean Archer is. Where it feels weird because he's clearly a man with crazy mental health issues and trauma, and like maybe that wouldn't even be in a movie today. And like, he obviously should been put on leave and sabbatical with work and had to help with counselors,
and also not
in charge of federal resources and fire teams and guns and
that was
all these things.
That was one of my favorite things. We're such a secret agent agency that we don't even tell people what we're doing.
And we can't even tell them we're doing, so we can't even do anything. It's just like, but with that said, with how much of a loose cannon he is, it just, I don't know. You have the crazy criminal type, and he's crazy wacky dude, doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He's like the ultimate, like, savage in air quotes. So then you have to have a way for the other side to be just as big and entertaining.
Yeah.
And they just double down with this dude's inability to handle trauma.
Yeah.
And so when he changes his face, the first thing he does is start breaking a mirror. And he's like, fuck yeah. He's like crying at the people in the room who he worked with to get him to this point. But he's so like instinctually like, I fucking hate that guy still. Like he'll never stop hating that man. Like the hate is so deep that he just like, I don't know. I just love him yelling "fuck you" and pointing at each person in the room down the line.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's pretty fucking great. Like, there's not a lot. Like, that's the thing is like neither of these men are without faults. Like, there's not a lot that is. There's not a lot that is out of reach for either of them. I love that.
Again, so
I'm sorry, we got the movie on in the background, and Nick Cage just put his face up against the wall.
and
I like to imagine that he improvised that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So to pull out of your thing, that's the beauty of this movie is like there's these moments that are just so weird. And so Nick Cage, he's going to the helicopter, go to the prison. He's got a straitjacket on, and he starts putting his face against the wall.
My face itches.
And his friend's like, what are you doing? And all he says is itches. And his friend's like, oh, come over here. And he starts massaging his face. And he's like, okay, champ, let's go. It's just so bizarre.
It's so weird. But it's so, like... But I think the thing... And that's one of the things... Thing. I've said thing so many times. But I think the coolest part is the Nick Cage honesty factor. Where it's like, he's like, yeah, if my face was off and I think that's one of the things that they say when you get a... like it does itch. Like you get anytime that your body is like restitching stuff back up together.
Yeah.
Your body itches.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons that your like broken arm itches on the like is because you have a cast on or whatever, but also because like you're weaving stuff together inside of your body. So you're like, and so I can't imagine what that would be like on your face.
You just put your face against the cold wall and be like, itches.
Itches. Man, it would be so weird to be in your body, but with a different person's face on your body.
Different voice, too.
Yeah.
So they do like, I don't know what they do about changing his voice, but they change his voice.
They have it's so funny, too, because they say, hey, it's a microchip in there that changes your vocal cords.
And like, sick, I buy it.
But they do that, but they also say, it can't really take a lot of trauma. So if you like get choked or you slam your throat on something, it might go out. And it's like, well, they kind of both get their throat like
they never really address it.
There's one time where he like tries to push on it and he tries to change it.
Nothing happens.
So
I think
maybe it's more resilient than they thought.
Well, yeah, and I think that they can report back and improve for the next time. The coolest thing about, not the coolest, but one of the most interesting dynamics is when they're fighting each other or whatever, they're at odds with each other physically, and it's the dilemma of your face. Obviously the body is not yours, so you don't have to preserve that, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like if someone else had my face and we were fighting, I would be conscious of it.
Yeah, that's my face. I can't punch my own face.
Yeah, I wouldn't, like there would probably some kind of like serious subconscious mental confusional block holding me back, but also like I want my face back.
Can I have my face back, please?
I'm not going to do any damage to it. And they don't really address it in terms of lines, but you still feel it in the movie, and I think that's a cool thing with the performances and the way their eyes move and scan the battle or the fight or whatever.
I think too this movie does really well is doesn't withhold, like both the big like fight at the end is like very satisfying, but also it doesn't withhold anything. Like they have their like medium-sized fight, when he goes back, when Sean Archer as
the pad,
Castor Troy goes back to the pad, and they have that like medium-sized fight that like ends with Pollock's being killed and them facing off with each other. They're facing off with each other to the mirrors while they're both looking at that's a fucking beautiful fucking scene.
It's so cool and it's so simple. Like if you were to make a movie, if anyone were to direct this movie, that would probably show up in at least half of the renditions of the simulation of directors. But the timing of it and the way it came in the movie, because even Castor's even pleading dude, let's just switch faces and I'll fuck off. Let me fuck off and I'll fuck off. And he's like, and obviously Sean Archer's like, no man, I don't trust you. He's like, oh, maybe you can, maybe you cannot. Yeah. And then he realized they're at odds, and that's when they aim the guns at each other. And then there's a part in the movie where, sorry, it just happened on screen, but it's so amazing, is that when Sean Archer as Castor Troy goes to the jail, he's trying to prove himself. And Sean Archer's kind of timid and weary because he doesn't know how to be Sean.
He's also freshly got a new face on, had this thing. I can't imagine how fucking fucked up that would be for his own brain already.
Yeah, so he doesn't know how to be Castor Troy maybe. And so what happens is he's getting challenged by the inmates, and he's sitting there panting, and he has a moment and he realizes, I need to be crazy. Yeah. So he makes a crazy face, and there's a guitar riff, and the timing, and there's just a guitar riff accenting Nicolas Cage making a crazy face, and then he goes, Castor Troy. He's yelling, I'm
and I love it. I love the moment.
And he's crying.
He's like, oh my God, what have I done? You see it, and again, that's the brilliance of the honesty of Nicolas Cage. Yeah. Where he's like, I've got to be brutal. I have to. It's just such good acting, bro. I know that it's ridiculous and it's over the top and it's Nicolas Cage, but it's such good acting because Nicolas Cage is playing John Travolta, playing Sean Archer, playing Castor Troy. Yeah. It's so fucking good. Yeah. But also you can see the realization that he is oh shit, I have to fucking be crazy and be brutal. This is my one job here. And then you also see him I'm being brutal, and then him letting go, and also when he's
lets
yelling,
go of all his emotions.
Yeah, and when he lets go and he's I'm Castor Troy. This is also the man that killed his son. Yeah. And then he's I'm Castor Troy, and it's oh God, I am letting go all of my anger and going deep into this, and then also fucking I am the person who killed my son. Fuck. Yeah.
I love Pollux in there, instantly suspicious for some reason.
I would be, if I knew my brother, and if my brother was not. I don't know if I would suspect that his face was switched, and I don't think that Pollux does. But I would be
something up.
What's going on? With you?
True.
Especially if his brother is as outspoken and over the top as Castor Troy is.
Yeah. I love it when he gets the information from Pollux until he drops the cover. And he's like, "You're such an idiot."
What a fucking terrible cop.
Yeah.
What a terrible. I remember thinking that and being like, "Oh wow, what a fucking awful cop."
But I love that because it's also a super emotionally invested person in a thing that they shouldn't probably be a part of anyways.
Yeah. Which is so funny that I guess I know. It's just so funny that because I knew that it worked for me, but I didn't know why. Yeah. It's just so good. I don't know, man. This movie, if you haven't seen this movie is written by Shakespeare. I will be adapting it as a Shakespeare play over the course of the next 3 years.
Let's see a stage show version of this.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
I'm going to do it like Shakespeare, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't care what you say.
Like an old period piece or modern?
No. I'll do it modern, but the words will be Shakespeare.
Like iambic pentameter?
I'll try. It's not going to be good, but it'll be more than just this. Yeah. Just because I think that would be interesting. Just because there's so many similarities to it to so many different Shakespeare's. It both combines the aspects of a Shakespearean comedy, like Twelfth Night or something like that, with sort of the body and identity switching. Yeah. With the the tragedy elements of King Lear, again with sort of a body switching and stuff like that. There's a lot of really fun parallels. Mm-hmm. And also the familial drama and the incestuousness of the characters. Yeah. The fact that yes, this affects the world at large or whatever because they got rid of the bomb, but all that stuff, it definitely takes second place to the relationship between these two men.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
I
is
love.
so fucking cool.
Because, I don't know, classic terrorist movie, get the bomb at the last minute, and the bomb's taken care of by the guy who set the bomb.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't, I mean, that's not important. But the fact
it's really not important, though. But that's
the fact
the thing
that it's
that's
not
fun.
important, and it's in the L.A. Convention Center is just a weird setting, too.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then the fact that there's a choir just playing in the middle of the convention center on a day, and there's business people walking, like,
Well, and then they set the bomb for however many days in advance.
yeah, made a 3-day timer.
Yeah, 286 hours or something like that.
I love movies that are good that also feel like they were made by aliens.
Yeah.
Who are trying to understand humans.
Yeah.
I haven't seen enough John Woo to know if this is something he does. Is this him doing an American movie, trying to adapt to American culture and tropes? I don't know what it is.
And one of the things, and one of the little like snippets,
trivia thing.
Yeah, the trivia things. It said that this movie was initially set in the future.
Ah.
And John Woo was like, "No, I want to set it in the present," which I think is a great
Smart
choice.
move.
Because I think that's one of the things that makes this movie great.
Yeah, it makes it ridiculous. Like, why would in 1997 they be able to switch faces?
Yeah.
They wouldn't.
But I think it also, like, it lends the look to it. Man.
I don't know. The older I get, the better 80s and 90s movies look. And I think a lot of it comes down to they were still using film and a lot. I mean, there's special effects in them, for sure. And even when they don't look good. But, like, they just look good. I don't know. Like, I always bring up the Marvel movies just because I think they're such a...
As we both consume them, it's also
I'm
like...
not against Marvel movies. I'm a sucker for them. But I think they stand as a staple of what people... of what to expect in today's world.
Well, and
they're just too clean, and they're obviously shot on beautiful digital 4K, 8K, 12K... I don't know what even cameras by now.
Yeah.
There's, like... But there's something to be said and something to be seen with the grain and the like on the spot natural lighting. Obviously they're coloring it in post, but you know when you shoot these new digital cameras, you got raw and you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
But here you can color it, but you're relying a lot on the painting of light and stuff like that. And I don't know.
Well, and then even just like looking at this as far as like the shot selection is. It's clearly intentional, you know, like so far we're watching it in the background and it's the scene where Pollux tells him where the bomb is or whatever. And there are 5 shots. I mean, there could be even more, but it's just like and I'm talking about like the coverage shots that they've got, whereas like it feels like for a lot of other movies, it's like, or for like bigger budget movies, for like an action movie like this,
multi-camera shot.
They would have multi-cameras and they would have it like where there would be nothing. And that's one of the brilliance of this movie is having the action spectacle and over the topness, but also having the allowance to have acting moments. Because there is some artistry with the shot selection, you know?
Well, that's probably just filming on film and not digital.
Yeah, well, because they had to be a little bit more like...
Way more prep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say there's not a lot of prep today, but...
I mean, I'm sure there is, but like you see the prep, and the prep is them doing their fight choreo.
Yeah.
It's not, and they use the same fight choreographers for... We've talked about this, where it's like they use the same fight choreographers for most of the things. And I mean, it's just as like, man, I miss this shot is so simple, but there's so much going on, like throughout this whole like.
Well, one of my favorite things in film school, one of my few favorite things, was when the teacher would pause the frame and talk, and when maybe sometimes be about the frame, and you would just be sitting there looking at a frame.
Yeah. And
even the most mundane pausing, it was just nice to see the frame. This just pausing.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a composition. It's nicely looked. Here's like things lit and things arranged in the back, the mise en scène or whatever. Like it just looks good. Like it, and you could do that with any of these films. And you could do it with the films today, but
I mean,
they're so meticulously.
Well, we're watching the scene where Sean Archer comes to him and is like, basically giving him his Iago moment. Again, I'm going to keep referring it to Shakespeare stuff because I fucking think it's Shakespeare. I don't care what you say, John. I don't care what you say.
I'm not fighting you on it, mainly because I don't know enough about Shakespeare.
How dare you?
I'm a simple man.
No, you're not. You're a very sexy, smart man, and you have your own different interests that I have. But this scene, we're watching him tell him all this stuff. And it's like there's nothing else in this room.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that is because it's all that matters is what's happening between these two guys. And there's so much that they're doing about it because they're eating the space that they're in. We're not living in we'll probably go out to a wide when he's all by himself. I'm pretty sure that we do. When he's all by himself as he's walking out and he does a fight thing. But it's like it's all with reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things, and it's coverage and it's back and forth and it's just these two dudes, but we're living in it. You know, we're living in John Travolta doing his thing, and we're living in it. That's the thing that I think we're missing a lot now, or that we miss a lot in things, is the purpose behind the shots is lost. Whereas,
I think that's the classic fear of when dialogue was introduced to film.
Yeah.
Was that the storytelling through imagery was taken away, and we still have that obviously with shorthand, as we talked.
Yeah.
Empty apartment with boxes. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
But there's another element to the storytelling just with the composition. Snowpiercer is a great example of a modern one, with how the cinematography always shows him facing the back, which is the past,
Mm-hmm.
or him looking forward, facing the future, facing the left, camera facing the left edge of the frame means he's looking backwards, or to the so.
Yeah. And
it's
it's
a
just,
good example of a modern day one.
Well, and the thing is one of the ways that we've done that, and obviously, we're making things for a different audience, but it's is you just come up with a couple different rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's hey, fucking the Christian neighbor is only on the right side of the thing.
Yeah.
Or, we try to follow rules like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Christian, the actor character,
as he's playing the neighbor.
yeah.
And John,
To an average person, be the Christian. But
but it's just you take the actor and he's only here in that part.
yeah.
Or just finding different rules, like you're saying, we're facing forward, it's facing the future.
Yeah.
And
That's not to say movies don't have it today, but
no, they definitely do. And I'm making sweeping generalizations. I recognize that.
well, I don't know. There's movies.
I think
movies like 21, 22 Jump Street. I only know this because Peter Stormare came to one of my classes, but it makes total sense. And he spoke directly to this about the change in movies making with digital, is that they just film coverage and they can just keep filming and then they put it together and make it work.
Yeah.
And
which is great for improv.
Yeah, and they just let the cameras roll, and it's obviously probably not the best example because it's a comedy.
Yeah.
Around improv people, but I don't know.
There's a balance though that we have. I don't think we have, again, making sweeping generalizations, because it's not necessarily true, but it's as a whole we haven't found that balance. But you could also go back to the 50s, because I just watched Hail Caesar, and it's they had their stuff that was set and they were gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they had their camera, and they were making the transition from theater to film. And so all their stuff was much more.
I want there to be a lot more movies that are not filmed on location.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want exterior shots and all these kind of things have to be filmed in the studio or within an hour outside of LA. That's why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is super meta. It's literally about studio Hollywood, but it still was it still felt I don't know. That's a part of why I love the movie.
Yeah. Wait, so you want more movies not shot on location?
Yeah, just more studio.
Okay.
Not as a shift in the industry, but I want more of that. I want that to not be an exception anymore.
It's so hard to get a studio though.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is even as a that's what I realized is that's what I want to make is I want to make studio movies.
Yeah.
But just because it's more easy for me to manipulate the space and make the space exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Rather than going into someone's house and making it look like the weird trash Wes Anderson
Mm-hmm.
that I want it to be.
Yeah.
Because people don't want you to fuck up their houses.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot easier to just use somebody's house and then dress it than it is to. I mean, we've dealt with this a bunch, like on our level, and so that translates as you go higher and higher up. People having to do guerrilla filmmaking, and just, you know, fucking studios are expensive, and they don't want you to shoot there if you're not going to be there for more than a month.
Yeah, probably because they want to keep their schedules wide open for the big chunks.
Yeah,
the big chunk boys.
Because that's what I've looked at when I've looked at trying to rent like screen gems.
Yeah,
it's like very, very expensive, but it's also like, are you going to be here for a month? And it's like, no, like maybe 4 days.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck you. It's like,
I don't know. If I had I mean, not that the studio managers, producers, owners, or whatever are thinking about the little guy, but fuck it. I'd make like a 2,000 square foot area for small productions. Why not? Especially in a film city with film kids and students and whatever. Like, use it as an incubator. Use it to keep people in the system. And I don't know. There's smart ways to go about it that probably will benefit you and maybe even exploit other people in a better way.
Yeah.
In a more beneficial way.
Not everybody's not everybody thinks like you, John. I wish that you had a studio that 2,000 that you could run and you could rent out 2,000 square feet to the little guy.
That's something I do want is a space like that.
Well, you'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see what goes. Then we can make Face Off 2 or Off Face.
Off Face. Where it goes wrong and they're both running around without faces.
Oh my gosh.
That's the straight to DVD.
That's the straight to
parody.
DVD. It's like 86 minutes. It's like 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like
$200,000 budget.
Yeah, barely 150.
Yeah.
150,000. You can't listen, we got to
You get like good actors like C, B tiers for their day rate.
Yeah. But the thing is,
or the prolific sporting actors,
here's the thing.
Have them be barely in there too.
Whoa. And this is what you do. Hold on. Is you get like reasonably like B actors, but you only pay them for one day and then to record VO.
Oh yeah.
Because then you could just have their faces being bloody the whole time.
Yeah, with off face.
Yeah. Then they're not in it. It's just them voicing, and then you just have to get stunt people to do the stuff.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, potentially.
I don't know if I want to do that, but I'm just like
potentially what happened with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Retaliation or whatever G.I. Joe.
Oh, G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Though it couldn't have. Maybe it wasn't even his voice in the first place either.
He was just in that one scene.
You just need him for the reveal and the flashback.
Oh, you talking about Rise of Cobra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you're wondering, we probably will get to watching Retaliation
if you really want.
The G.I. Joe episode did well.
Okay, I believe it.
And the next one does have The Rock.
Yeah.
Which he brings the people out with that smile.
He does bring the people, but he's not allowed in our Face Off remix.
No.
Remix. I did hear that they were rewriting, or they were remaking it. Not remaking it. They were doing a sequel.
A Face Off?
Yeah, that's it. They hired some people to write a sequel.
Are you talking recently?
Yeah, reasonably recently. Again, I don't know. I'm not like an industry insider, but I read a thing that was like the people were like, "Oh, they're doing a Face Off reboot," and the people who were hired to write is like, "No, we're writing a sequel. Face Off is perfect."
Yeah.
And it could be really cool because what if like his daughter has to switch with a boy, so like there's that whole like thing where it's like,
or maybe she just switches with another woman, like female counterpart.
That's also true too.
I mean, I guess we completely didn't like theorize fun women face off switching.
We didn't. Let's think on that now.
Yeah. I mean,
Emily Blunt is the obvious choice because she just does great action stuff.
I mean, Emily Blunt, Margot Robbie.
Ooh, okay. That's a pretty good one right off the bat. We just made up. I
mean, Scarlett Johansson would be interesting to see as the straight person playing the crazy person taking over their body.
Yeah.
She could be interesting to see.
Scarlett Johansson and Jessica Chastain. Or like Jessica Chastain and someone else. I like
Jessica Chastain, but I've never thought of her as fun.
That's true.
Like they have to have a fun element to her.
Yeah.
To them.
She's pretty serious. She could be Sean Archer.
Yeah.
So we've got a bunch of Sean Archers. Margot Robbie.
I mean, Kristen Wiig is a pretty easy one.
Kristen Wiig, yeah.
But I mean, she's so goofy that it wouldn't. I mean, Nick Cage is goofy, so it doesn't really change
Yeah,
that.
but Nick Cage has, but she's like comedy goofy. Nick Cage
is. I want to bring something interesting to this role. Goofy.
Yeah.
I'm just drawing a blank on female actors.
I can't think of a good. It's tough because Nick Cage is so Nick Cagey.
Yeah.
Because you could go like hardcore. Because I don't know, and that's also just like, that's a whole other like the role that women play in movies is they're not allowed to be like wild and crazy and over the top.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie with Harley Quinn is like the only recent example that I can think of.
Yeah, I think she'd be my Castor Troy right now. Like Melissa McCarthy could be maybe.
Yeah.
But again, she's
But
more
again, that's
comedy.
like that comedy feel.
I don't know. We'll
Kate
think on it.
Winslet would be fun, but again, I feel like she's a Sean Archer.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too is like I don't know. I think that Emily Blunt would be good.
Yeah.
I think Emily Blunt could pull off crazy. Anne Hathaway could maybe pull off crazy.
Mila Kunis maybe.
Ooh, Mila Kunis. I don't know if she has the chops to go all the way with it.
Yeah. I don't know. She gets pretty.
She goes hard.
Crazy girlfriend type and a lot of stuff.
Anna Kendrick. No, she's too like.
Cute.
I don't know. She could go crazy.
She could go crazy, but I think she's too like cutesy.
Yo, A Simple Favor is a fucking Buck Wild movie too, by the
really?
way. That's Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick.
Okay.
And that movie is kind of like this movie a little bit, where it's just like, what the fuck?
All right, I'm interested.
A Simple Favor, yeah. That movie's batshit wild.
Yeah. Well, what would you give this movie? Is it because
I'm giving it 5. 5. I'm giving it 5 out of 4.
Yeah.
I'm giving it 5 out of 4 for just like longevity.
I think I gave it 4 out of 5, but I think I'm gonna edit it to a 5 out of 5. And I was watching it, even when I watched it. My first watch. Well, I'll step back. So when I first watched it 6 months ago or whatever, I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
Wow.
And then this time I watched
Shame.
it, I was like, I saw that rate, I was like, I'll bump it up. And then the more I talked about it, thought about it, was actually watching the movie. I was like, no, this movie's perfect. It's not the perfect movie. It's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's the best movie that could ever be. It's the perfect.
Yeah.
It is perfect as it is. And I was saying to my girlfriend, I was watching, I was like, I think this is a top 10 movie for me all time.
Yeah.
It's still recent enough where I need to let it marinate, so I might put it in top 20.
Yeah.
But I think it might end up being there, and I'm gonna this is a good movie.
Yeah. There's so many movies out there. I don't know if I could ever make a list.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I might
couldn't
try.
even visualize what the other 9 would be if this was top 10. But I'm just that's me quantifying how much I like it.
No. I hear you.
But I think one movie that I watched close to this that I got similar vibes from in terms of just being cheesy and stylized was Swordfish,
Okay.
the hacker movie, which I think had John Travolta in it as like a
It
crazy
did.
bad guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Like
And that was like Hugh Jackman's other big
Hugh
breakout.
Jackman, Halle Berry, and I think that was famous because she was topless in it. I think she got paid like $400,000 per boob was her negotiation. Bringing that back to the negotiation thing, that's how she negotiated that. And that's
Good
a whole
for
other
her.
thing.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, So if you like Face Off, first off, watch Face Off. I
Yes,
think this
please.
might be the most we've glowed about a movie, maybe. If I remember.
mean, Die Hard I blew up about pretty
Yeah.
good, but this movie I think just because of I think that this movie retains some of its like shine simply because they didn't try and franchise it.
Yeah.
Because that was like just kind of like doubling back to that conversation real quick is like if there is an action movie that comes out, like you'll get the sense that it's either part of a franchise or it's like intended to kick off a franchise.
Yeah. Let's see if it makes money.
Yeah, let's see if it makes money and see if we can make another one.
Or whoa, this made a lot of money. Let's keep making money.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I definitely give this 5 out of 1984. I fucking love this movie. It was made for me. I can't believe it's so funny to me that I had this weird like fixation on this movie, having never seen it really.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But it was like one of the movies that I held up in my brain as like, this is a movie. Like, I know that sounds like a weird thing, but it's like, this is like a movie star movie that, like, this is how movies should be.
Yeah.
You know, which probably explains why I like what I like now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird that I got there without ever actually seeing this movie.
So this is a formula movie for you, you'd say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got Scorpion King. You got got this.
Yeah.
For different reasons. I don't know. It's fun to visit movies from the childhood. No, this isn't a childhood movie of mine. I didn't know it existed until a year ago, like I said earlier. But watch it. Please watch it. And I hope you watched it the moment you saw that we were covering this.
Yes, please.
Or when you tuned in, you went and watched it.
Yeah,
and
you
came
fucking
back.
stopped immediately and were like, oh shit, I better watch this movie. I really hope that we didn't. Listen, I think the thing is like, even if we spoiled some of the parts of it, I don't think we spoiled anything.
No.
Like, I don't think
you could have watched this and been fine.
I think you could listen to this and be like, yeah, okay, I'll go watch that movie. And I don't think we've given anything away.
Yeah, no.
Like,
I think it was a pretty safe review.
Because the thing is like, it's one of those, like, there's no information that is lost by the verbal telling of it, because it's the visual, like, it's the visual component that brings everything together. Because there's no way from listening to this you can accurately get how fucking batshit Nicolas Cage is.
Yeah.
Or John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage playing his character.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch this movie without dialogue and pick it up.
And I mean,
which is pretty crazy considering the complexity of them playing each other, or the switch. You know, you
could watch this movie like silent style
and still figure it out
and still like understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, man, I definitely give this, I can't think of a creative thing to give it, but it's like definitely my favorite movie of all time, and I won't change that ever.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
But
I put it's up. It's I don't think it's my, I don't know, bro. Like, this movie
just has so many good moments.
It has so many good moments. I'm too close to Barb and Star to say that whether that is, but Parasite is definitely one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love how much the prison kind of resembles the 1984 commercial.
Yeah.
With the screen. And then I love when he escapes the prison and he realizes it's on top of an oil rig. He's like, oh no! Oh no!
No!
It's so
but
good.
then they never explain how he gets back.
No, yeah. So
he just jumps off.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a problem.
Well, I guess he swam back.
Yeah.
Which is a person who's been swimming recently. It's like, that's a fucking long ass swim.
Yep. Even like a mile out, it'd be a daunting task to get back.
Probably even, I mean, it's probably more of a mile out if it's like rig length.
Yeah. There's tons of boats. It was an active area.
That's true.
So I'm assuming he got picked up.
But also, yeah, how did he get anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. And that's the thing, is it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Fun movie.
Fun movie, great stuff. What have you been have you watched anything recently?
No.
Okay.
It's been pretty quiet. Still watching WandaVision and Twin Peaks.
Hell yeah.
I want to eventually open the can of worms that is open again and is The Americans.
Oh yeah.
And then Viking.
Oh wow.
And then I want to watch the SEAL Team 6 History Channel 1.
Okay.
I'm curious, and we know someone who worked on it. But yeah.
Okay. I was like,
I don't know why you shared that information. What I was going to watch, but now you know.
I love it. I started to watch. I was like hungering after some like wizard fantasy stuff.
Nice.
So I started watching fucking Prince Caspian, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, because
nice.
I've rewatched the Lord of the Rings pretty recently, and I couldn't restart that. But I really want.
I'm gonna rewatch The Hobbit. I think not because it's a classic, because I just want to do it again.
Yeah.
And see. I know it's not my.
I recently got angry about the fact that they didn't let Guillermo del Toro direct those movies, and especially it's like,
mess.
Especially after seeing his like, I was like looked at his fucking concept art again.
Ooh.
And it's like, oh man. And then I watched, I think I talked about this on the podcast because I watched Pan's Labyrinth, and I was like, how he treated old magic, and like that, like that's how his Middle Earth would have looked.
That one cool.
It's like, fuck, dude. Why did you take that away from us?
Who directed Prisoner of Azkaban? I know it was Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah.
Those guys are good.
Yeah, man, they hit hard.
Yeah.
They're good. They do good work. It makes me want to watching Face Off makes me want to rewatch Mission Impossible 2. Just cuz like if I know the like John Wooiness of things better now.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I would appreciate Mission Impossible 2 more.
I bet you would.
Probably. I will say we had a Mission Impossible box set when there were only 3 of them.
Yeah.
And my brother took it over to his friend's house, and the only one that he brought back was Mission Impossible 2, which is arguably the worst of those 3.
Damn. Well, I guess there's a reason why.
Yeah, well.
You should bring that up next time. Like, hey.
Yeah, hey, where are they?
You owe me that.
Yeah, where are they? But yeah.
It's so liberating not to have to worry about DVDs and stuff anymore.
It is, but I do, like, I've been watching AP Bio is another thing.
That show?
It's a show with Glenn Howerton on the Peacock Plus network, which is free right now.
All right.
And I'm just mad that it exists. I understand, and I also was like reading a thing, and this is like
platform or the show.
The platform. The show's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But the platform, the fact that it exists at all, and I was reading a thing that was like, oh, Apple really fucked up by not buying Netflix when it should have.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. Netflix needs to exist by itself.
Yeah.
You know, Disney owns so many things.
Wasn't Hulu super NBC affiliated? Like, I thought Hulu was the NBC kind of representation.
Yeah, well, Disney owns Hulu now, too.
Oh, my God.
So it's like they own all the things.
Yeah.
They own ESPN.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Amazon owns fucking Whole Foods. Like, I don't need that. I need my medium big things to stay medium big. I don't want
Maybe we
to
should
live
watch
in a dystopia.
Maybe we should watch WALL-E and get into it.
I watched WALL-E too recently to go back to it.
Well,
as they say in LA. Oh yeah, hit us up.
And LA.
Oh yeah. Please watch Face Off. Please watch Face Off and tell us what you think about us. Hit us up at Twitter at Stinky Podcast. Tell us why we're wrong, and you know we'll probably be like, well, that's your own opinion, but you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's objectively.
It's
amazing.
You know, it's a lot of fun. And
you know, if you like this movie, I'm gonna say it. It may be a good, like, first few dates, feeling someone out.
Yeah.
If you love this movie, watch it with someone and see what they think, and maybe it'll be a good gauge and save you a few years of until you hit that incompatibility point.
Yeah.
It might save you some trouble.
Yeah.
So
Save you.
Find someone who loves this movie too.
Find someone who loves this movie too, and then just everybody
it's a match made.
Make babies of people who love Face Off, and then we'll have a nation.
And then they'll make
Face-Offers.
babies, and then yeah, exactly. It doesn't take long to overtake the country.
We can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it, guys.
We're doing.
We're gonna start a new church about Tom Cruise and Face Off. Not Tom Cruise. Jesus Christ, Nicolas Cage.
He would probably.
Gosh.
He would be like, I can get into that. He'd probably join.
He'd be
it.
like, thanks, guys. Well, he's playing a movie where he's playing himself.
What?
Called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
All right, I'm down.
He's playing. Yeah, he's playing himself.
You can't forget that he's gonna be Joe Exotic either.
Yeah, I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
It is weird though that it's come back around, and
It happened fast.
It did happen fast. When is that? Do you know when that comes out?
I have no idea.
It'd be good if they released that like a year to the day.
That'd be cool.
But I can't imagine that they would have done that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and you know where to find us, Stinky.
Or listening.
Yeah, listening.
Whatever it is.
And you know, hit us up with movie suggestions. So we have a list. We got the Scorpion Kings and the Retaliations and all the other stuff. I mean, Tom and Jerry just came out. I don't know if I want to cover that because it looks like it might be a train wreck and ruin my childhood.
Yeah.
Or misunderstood what made it great. I don't know why it exists today.
It looks kind of ridiculous. I'm almost interested.
I mean, I'm down to cover it. I think covering new stuff is probably good to do.
Okay.
I like covering the old stuff or just the random thing.
Well, I think we could just go on a run of fucking 90s action movies. But listen, let us know. Tell us what it is. and hit us up. And we're still waiting on someone to send us a screenplay so we can go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Also, I also understand if it's your propriety information and you're like, please don't read my screenplay.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You're going to steal it. And I will. No, I won't. I'm just kidding. And as they say in LA.
Were you looking for me? Was that a cue?
I don't know. I was looking for something.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm pointing at everyone in the room. I'm pointing to all you listening. Fuck you. Fuck you.
No. I love you.